Hi there, students. So, I believe we're live. Um, so very much, as in, I love you very much. Um, okay, I think probably, Ronan, you're thinking about um, verbs that are extreme or verbs that are countable or are gradable. It's like this thing with gradable adjectives. I much appreciate. But I appreciate it very much. I appreciate it very much. I like it very much. You need to use it as an adverb going after. So, hi there, Vitali. Hi there, Count. Hi there, Oksana. Great to have you. So, we're going to have another episode of this cloze test. So, hi there, Arif, Manisco, and Lukash as well. Great to have you. If you remember, this article we were doing was about sarcasm, sarky teenagers. Good to have you, Makaboya. And hi there, Kadir. Thank you. Yeah. Hi there, Roland. Great to have you. So, it's wonderful. Lots of people coming in. Everybody's pouring in. Yeah. Mustafa, great to have you as well. Okay, so the previous one we finished. Before embarking on the problem, some participants were asked to recall a sarcastic interaction, while others remembered a sincere or neutral exchange. So this phrase, to embark on, to begin something. So it's 8 o'clock and time to rock and roll. Let's see. So this will take a second to come up. Okay. And Hadi, great to have you, Hadi. And Amin, great to have you as well. So let's see, here it comes. Quite amazingly, the sarcastic memories more than doubled the participants' success, result, victory, correct rate from about 30 to more than 60%. Okay, I wanted to put hit rate, the word hit, but I thought hit rate was probably too good a collocation to use. Okay, so quite amazingly, sarcastic memories, the sarcastic memories, more than doubled the participants' success, result, victory, correct rate from around 30 to more than 60%. So we've got success for Vitali, for Count, for Valentin, for Lukash, for Ronan, for Oksana. This collocates really well with rate, very definitely. Yeah. And success for Hadi and for Amin as well. Hi Maria, great to have you. Okay, correct rate. I would probably say rate of correct responses. Victory rate. Victory is when you win a competition or a war or a match or something like that. The result rate, result doesn't say if you're successful or not. Yeah, so the result rate, not really. And Patricia goes for success as well. That's really good. So I'm going to start here. Success is one of these words I always have difficulty spelling with this double C and double S. Hi there, Laurie. Great to have you as well. Okay, so a success rate. The success rate. This is a very good collocation, and the next one's quite easy as well. I'm pretty convinced with that. Okay, so yeah, the success rate for that last question was 100%. Well done. Well done, all of you. As a form of humour, sarcasm may also help us to deal with frustration or stress. It can be a way of setting off steam, getting off steam, putting off steam, letting off steam, says Kathrin Rothermich at East Carolina University. Namaste, Bhuvanesh. Okay, I think this one you're all going to know as well. This is an idiom meaning to relax. Yeah. We all relax in different ways. So let's see. We've got letting from Vitali, from Valentin, from Hadi, from Lukash, from Count, from Ronan, from Maria, from Amin, and from Laurie, and from Oksana. Okay. And from Patricia as well. Yes, very definitely. So to let off steam. Letting off steam. This is the collocation. So I don't know, people play sports to let off steam, or people go for a drink to let off steam, or listen to music to let off steam. Hi there, K-pop, great to have you. Thank you, Macaboya. That's the answer. A way of venting one's anger. I like that. That's a good one, Oksana. So, good evening, Enrique Martin. Great to have you, Kike. And Manny goes for letting off steam as well. Okay, so letting off steam is a good way to relax. Yeah, we all let off steam in different ways. So Mustafa, unfortunately it's not putting off steam, it's letting off steam, to let off steam. I think here the let off means to allow to escape. This is talking about a steam engine or a steam train, where in the old days the pressure would build up inside the water tank, and if you didn't let off steam, reduce the pressure from time to time, the boiler would explode. So, intriguingly, one of her recent studies found that depressed and anxious individuals' use of sarcasm increased over the COVID-19 pandemic, which may reflect this managing, coping, handling, tackling mechanism. Okay, Laurie, so notice, Laurie, everyone here is very good, yeah? I think you're all number ones. Okay, so we've got coping for Vitali, for Oksana, for Laurie, for Kike. Okay, when you when you go for a drink, you can gather more steam in the long run. And that reminds me, Patricia, of the phrase to pick up steam, to go faster. Amin goes for coping as well. Okay, so, and Kalap goes for coping, Ronan goes for coping, Patricia goes for coping as well. To cope with, says Roland. Yes, but notice, to cope with something. This time there's no with. Yeah. But this is a noun. Is it a noun construction? This coping mechanism. He's coping. Yeah. I think this is a noun construction. And Macaboya goes for coping as well. Okay. For this mechanism of tackling problems, this mechanism to handle problems, and Burnesh goes for coping. Hi Rafa, great to have you. Coping for Manny as well. Okay, so definitely to cope, coping, a coping mechanism. Okay, that's good. So coping for Manny and Rafa as well. To cope is to deal with a difficult situation. A coping mechanism. I'm not convinced. It might be an adjective, it might be a noun. It's difficult to say. So Manak, to handle. This method to handle. Something that helps you tick along. A coping mechanism, yeah. Okay. He can't cope with all the people. And Hadi goes for coping as well. So to cope, to deal with something stressful, to deal. I can't cope with this many customers. His ability to cope is seriously affected by something. So great to see you as well, Malak. In general, though, the former, primary, senior, first-hand motivation of sarcasm will be linguistic, to add colour to the messages that we hope to convey. Okay, term in psychology. So, in general though, the former, primary, senior, first-hand motivation of sarcasm will be linguistic, to add colour, to add interest to the messages that we hope to convey a message, to get your meaning across to the other person. Okay, so, we've got primo, primary for Vitaly, for Valentin. Tackle the problem. Tackle is relevant to the topic, for the topic too, very definitely, but not the structure that was used. Amin goes for primary, Oksana for primary, and Jimmy Chung for primary, Hadi for primary, Ronan for primary, Jake, Laurie, Manny, Patricia, Kalap for Patricia, Kike for primary as well. Okay. The initial. Notice, Manny, initial means at the beginning, whereas here primary, the word everyone's using, which Rafa has given as well, and so has Makabuya. The thing you start with is not always your primary motivation. Initial says just at the beginning, at the start of something. So his initial objective was not his primary objective, and primary for Rafa and Count as well. So what's first hand? Former means previous, a former prime minister, a former girlfriend, main. Yes, Valentine, very definitely. The main motivation. Senior, seniority, means more important. First-hand information. That's very good, Patricia. First-hand information means you saw it yourself. I have first-hand knowledge of this type of work. I've done it myself. I've experienced it myself. So, primary. Very definitely. Initial means nascent, and is incorrect, very definitely. Senior citizens, like me, very definitely. Or senior manager, is top of the pecking order, top of the tree. Okay, so, yes, very definitely the primary motivation of somebody. The initiative was initially supported by the board. No, the initiative was initially supported. It works okay, thank you. Former means quondam, erstwhile, or what's the other one? Whilom as well, Here. The first thing in priority, that's it, Manny. You have the veil of the surface meaning over the underlying meaning, says Pexman. It could be a gentle tease, and if you are implicitly criticizing someone, it can even give you likely, valid, plausible, reliable deniability, reducing the risk of an brawl, strife, altercation, scuffle. Primary, principle, primary colours, good by both Patricia and Hadi there. I like both of those things. Okay, so I'm going to let some more of you do this. So you have the veil of the surface meaning. So the initial meaning is something that covers it, and it covers the underlying, the meaning underneath. It could be a gentle tease, a little joking. And if you're implicitly, without saying directly, criticizing someone, it can even give you likely deniability, valid deniability, plausible deniability, reliable deniability, reducing the risk of an brawl, strife, altercation, or scuffle. So, let's see. And we've got plausible altercation for Vitaly, plausible altercation for count. Ronan for plausible. Okay, valid and altercation for Amin. No idea about 2D. Likely for Raphael. Reliable for Manny. Plausible for Laurie and altercation. Macabuya goes plausible and scuffle. Emin plausible and altercation. Amin plausible and altercation. Jake goes for scuffle. Kike goes for reliable. Plausible deniability is a collocation, says Oksana. And a scuffle. Vitali, plausible deniability is a collocation, just saying. A valid an altercation for Patricia. Altercation for Manny. Okay, so I think you're mostly pretty happy about the first one. My question with these four is, which of these four does not normally talk about physical violence? Hello, good evening, Forlern. So, plausible deniability. Plausible means believable, yeah? Normally they use this phrase plausible deniability when you're denying something with an excuse. It's not necessarily true, but it's believable. So, plausible deniability. This is a collocation and is used very, very commonly. I see it in books and stories in the whole case. Okay, so Siad, thank you. Okay, so let's see. Hadi goes for plausible and scuffle. Patricia, either valid or reliable. No, it's plausible deniability. It means you could defend it in a court of law, even if it's not the truth. And that's the idea. So, let's see. Ronan goes brawl. Manny says altercation is not necessarily physical. An altercation for learn. Laurie, altercation not physical. Good evening, Maha. Strife, says Vitali and Patricia. With a Y, so no, that's okay. For me, spelling is probably less important. Okay, yes. So I understand why Patricia and Vitali have said strife. Strife is definitely not physical violence, but we've got a problem. Strife is uncountable. Yeah? So strife is uncountable and it doesn't work. Okay, so strife it isn't. We're now down to brawl, altercation and scuffle. Scuffle for Kike, Raphael for altercation. Okay, so to me normally a brawl and a scuffle are normally physical fighting. Good evening, Boris goes for scuffle. An altercation is normally people shouting and arguing. It could be violence, but normally an altercation leads to a scuffle. An altercation leads to a brawl. I think a brawl is nearly always physical fighting, and a scuffle is nearly always physical fighting as well. An altercation. So an altercation is the right answer. I think I would agree with Patricia that probably an altercation is the most formal of these possibilities. Yeah. Yeah, but very often I think there was an altercation that led to a scuffle or a brawl. Okay, so an altercation. A difference of opinions, very often they say politely in English. Plausible, persuasive argument to deceive, a plausible liar. That's good, Hattie. And that's the idea of a plausible deniability. Okay, while these studies were conducted with adults rather than teenagers, it seems likely that teens experience similar sensations when they use sarcasm and might find it the no article useful way to address, cope, tackle, withstand with negative feelings or difficult situations. So, Manny says no article. Count goes for A and tackle. A veil, the surface meaning for learn is a veil. It's a covering for what you are saying underneath. Manny goes for cope, Valentine for A and cope. Laurie goes for A, cope with. Vitali for A and cope. Believable deniability. Yes, that's it. Ronan goes for A and cope. Malak, A, useful way. Lukash, A and cope with. Incompatibility of humour, which led to strife. Yes. And then a punch-up. A brawl. Kike goes for no article and address. Manny for learn, A, useful. Jake goes A and cope. Makoboya, A and cope. Amin, A and cope. Okay, so Maria goes for A and cope as well. While these studies were conducted with adults rather than teenagers, it seems likely that teens experience similar sensations when they use sarcasm and find it a useful way to address, cope, tackle, withstand with negative feelings or difficult situations. Okay, so cope for Raphael, A and cope for Patricia. Incompatibility of a sense of humour. Okay, Oksana, A and cope. Hadi, A and cope with. Kalap goes for A and cope as well. So find it a useful way. A, one of the possible ways. Yeah, a useful way. It's got to be A. And Malak says to cope with. This with is the key. A useful way to address, no with negative feelings. To tackle, no with negative feelings. To withstand, no with negative feelings. But to cope with. That's the second time we've had cope in a couple of minutes. Cope with, says Count Beauty as well. Yeah, so notice to tackle a problem, to address a problem, to tackle a problem, to deal with a problem. Yeah, to handle a problem, but cope with. Yeah, the prepositions are really important. Okay, so to cope with. Yeah, the prepositions are what do this. So, training sarcasm. It may initially feel like a shock when parents notice their children arraying, deploying, posting, fielding sarcasm. A sign perhaps of a more adult-like cynicism that jars with their impressions of their offspring's youthful innocence. Okay, for learn, tackle doesn't take cope, so it's got to be, tackle doesn't take with, so it's got to be cope. Great to have you, Manji, no problem, you are always welcome, early, late, or even afterwards. Okay, so Count Beauty goes for deploying, Laurie, Vitali goes for deploying, so does Laurie and Oksana for learn deploying, Kike for deploying, Manji for deploying, Ronan for deploying, utilizing, applying, yes, that's the idea. So, what about this word jars, to jar with? And the other word I thought was interesting was offspring. I think offspring's an easier word, but to jar with, this is certainly more interesting vocabulary. Good evening. It's okay. You can sit there and watch George Washington. No problem. Great to have you. Hadi says deploying a sign. Macabuya deploying. Patricia deploying. Tareen, good evening Tareen. Tareen for deploying as well. Okay, and Jake for deploying. So what about this to jar? Yeah? And what about this word offspring? Okay, so let's see. Offspring is the same for plural, isn't it? But notice this is a possessive here. There's an apostrophe s. My offspring. Offspring is either, I think, either singular or plural. Yeah, we don't normally say offsprings. My offsprings. No, my offspring, plural. Okay, to jar, conflictual. I love it. That conflict with their impressions. Good. I'm glad you're Googling, Jar. It's great to make you jar, to get you Googling. Offspring is a reference to a child or children. Yes, Valentine. And Vitali says to jar with, to clash with. Yes. So if you're playing music and you play the wrong note, it jars. It clashes with. It doesn't sound good with something else. So offsprings means children. Manji, notice no S with offspring. Offspring is plural. Offspring, progeny. Okay. Ashish, newly born. Offspring, yeah, very definitely. Offspring, animals have offspring as well. To jar with, to contrast with, that's a good one, I mean. Jake, offspring is someone's children, very good. But notice this apostrophe s, the apostrophe before, although, which is showing it's in singular. Not in harmony, to jar with, absolutely. Okay, that was really good. Whoops, so I haven't actually given the right answer. Okay, so the right answer is deploying. Yeah, to deploy. Most normally you deploy your troops or you deploy your assets, but here it's the only one that fits. I think if we, the flesh of your flesh, I love it. If we look at this, arraying means to put out so that everybody can see it. Posting, you post, you put it on the wall, or you post it on a website, you post a comment. And then to field means to deal with. So the politician was fielding the questions of reporters. This is, I think, from cricket, where you field the ball. You take it, you have to catch or deal with the ball, and that's why. Deploy your wings, very definitely. That's a good one, Laurie. Jar and jolt. Yes, that's good, Hadi. So, while parents may feel particularly helpless when dealing with a teenager who injects, saturates, drenches, dyes it into almost in all interactions, as if they struggle to express any sincere emotions. Okay, I think this one's easy. I like that, deploy your wings. Okay, so injects for Valentine, for Vitali, for Count, for Laurie, for Manji. Yes, that's the idea for them. It's an apostrophe. To jar, to conflict with. Yeah, so if you play a wrong note in music, it jars with the harmony. Anti-harmony, not harmonious, not in harmony. To conflict against. Okay, so Hadi goes for inject, Macabuya for saturates, Oksana for injects, Amin for injects, Tareen goes injects, Ashish goes for saturates, Patricia goes for injects, Ronan for injects, Kike for injects, Zoe for injects. Good to see you. Zoe. Okay, so Oksana says drenches, saturates the communication with sarcasm. That's the idea. You don't saturate the sarcasm, you saturate the communication, you saturate the interaction, you drench the interaction, and you dye as well, but to dye means to colour. So, Boris, yes, it's very good, because to saturate and drench, this is the thing that becomes drenched. The rain drenched me. Yeah? Who drenches the communication with sarcasm, who saturates the communication with sarcasm. But here, who injects. Here, injects means puts into. Okay. Yes, it was. Yes, Manji. Thank you, Oksana. It was a good explanation. Okay, so Boris goes for saturates. Calap goes for dyes, and Julia Richmond, good evening, goes for injects. So injects is definitely the answer here. Okay, so yeah, to inject, to put something into something else, whereas the others, the structure needs to be different, because it is not the right object for drenches or saturates in this case. Okay, so you all did pretty well there. But should we blame teens for practicing, flapping, shaking, wielding this versatile tool? Perhaps it's better seen as the useful practice of a vital ability. Does inject into mean to integrate? Yes, in this case, yes, very definitely, for learn. Okay, so we're starting to get answers. To inject, let's inject some life into this. Let's liven it up. Let's make it more lively. Let's make it more animated. So, but should we blame teens for practicing, flapping, shaking, wielding this versatile tool? Perhaps it's better seen as the useful practice of a vital ability. Okay, so practicing for Count, for Vitali, for Tarine, for Julia, for Enrique. Hadi goes for wielding, Jake for practicing, Ronan for practicing, Ashish for practicing, Manji for practicing, Raphael goes for flapping, Makabuya for practicing, to inject enthusiasm, vitality, says Patricia. Laurie says, can you practice at all? I think that's a very, very, very good question by Laurie. Can you practice at all? I think for practicing the use of this versatile tool. I really like Laurie's question there. So enthusiasm, vitality. Patricia goes for wielding. Oksana, wielding also works. She goes for practicing. Jimmy for wield. And Shiva. Great to have you, Shiva. And Laurie says maybe wield. And Pavla says flapping. Great to have you, Pavla from Prague. Zoe says wielding. We've got a bit of a U-turn here. Wield a sword or a tool. So, to flap up and down, a bird flaps its wings. Yeah, doesn't work. For shaking, this tool, shaking doesn't work here. To wield power, says Fallon. That's a good collocation. Yeah, to wield power. To wield is to brandish, to threaten someone with. To wield a weapon. Yes, Patricia. And I think if you look at this in the article, they're talking about teenagers using sarcasm as a weapon. Yeah, they're talking about it as a weapon. Wielding a versatile tool, says Malak. So for practicing this versatile tool, I'm going to say yes to practicing. I think it works. But I think wielding, I-E-L-D-I-N-G, wielding, is a better answer. And wielding is the one that was... Well, talk to the BBC, Vitali, because this was the one that they actually used. No, they're wielding a tool. They're threatening people with their sarcasm. Okay, so kalapfesa goes for wield as well. I think practicing is okay, but wielding is the one that was actually used in the original article. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We've almost finished this article. I think there's probably only one or two left. Okay, so here we go. First you practice, then you wield. Okay, maybe. Honing their skills and is correct. I've not said it's not correct, but I think wielding is a better choice. They're wielding it as a weapon. They're using it as a weapon to hurt people. Okay. It is a skill that they want to be able to be good at, particularly because a huge amount of the language we use in everyday life is not verbatim, literal, authentic, sick, says Philic. Okay. And we're starting to get some answers. Let me read this again. It is a skill that they want to be able to be good at, particularly because a huge amount of language that we use in everyday life is not verbatim, literal, authentic, sick, says Philic. So, Oksana goes for literal, Count for literal, Ronan for literal, Julia for literal, saber rattling. Yes, wielding your saber. I like that, Patricia. Ashish goes for literal, Manji for literal, Tareen for authentic, Jake for literal, Valentine for literal, Vitali for literal, Laurie for literal, Raphael goes for verbatim. Verbatim is an adverb, so literal. That's very good for learn. Can we use verbatim? Tell me verbatim what he said. I'm pretty sure you're absolutely right for learn. That's very good. I hadn't spotted that one. Hadi goes for literal. Sepul goes for literal. Good evening, Sepul. Zoe goes for verbatim. Patricia for literal. Malak for literal. Literally is an adverb. Yes. Okay, but here is we need an adjective. Enrique for literal as well. Okay, so while I'm explaining, what about this word sick? Let's see, verbatim means word for word. Tell me verbatim what he said. Tell me the exact words. Yeah? And here, it's not verbatim. Yeah? Okay, Macaboya says authentic. I think much of the language that we use is not authentic. I don't really like it. It might work, but I'm not very happy with it. Because this gives me overtones of sincere, which is close. Okay, and the right answer here is literal. Yeah, translated word for word. Sick we use normally in a document to say that we are copying what came exactly from the original text, particularly if there was a mistake or something weird in the original text. Yes, I did a video on sick. I really liked it. Quote exactly what the writer said, the spelling, etc., particularly when it's wrong or weird. Thank you both Manji and Patricia. Sick is used after somebody's words to show that's how he said it exactly. Good, Oksana. Sepul. Well, it's astounding as well because I get lots of names wrong, Sepul. Okay, and Kalap goes for literal. Okay, so literal is definitely the answer. And okay, let's put the other one up. Okay, sick is normally something you write. Yeah, something you write to say these are the exact words used by the original author from a quotation. And very often it's to say there's either a spelling mistake or something that doesn't really make sense. Verbatim and adverb word for word. Literal. Yes, with the square brackets count. Well done. You normally put sick in square brackets. That's really good count. You do, listen. Okay, Pecksman agrees, and it is for this reason that she has started looking for ways to teach sarcasm to children who are slow at gripping, clasping, grabbing, clutching, gripping, clasping, grabbing, clutching, grasping, its nuances. The result is Sydney Gets Sarcastic, a storybook that provides multiple examples of sarcasm and the reasons it was used. So, we have grasping for learn for Vitali. Opposite of fake, sham, veiled. Yes, literal. Sick, similar to quote. Yes, quote, but the exact words, particularly when they're weird, Laurie. Sick is Latin. Yes, Kike. Valentine goes for grasping, so does Oksana, so does Count, so does Raphael. Yeah. Or a Freudian wicked thing, a Freudian slip. Yeah. Yes, Patricia. Julia for grasping, Ronan for grasping, Boris for grasping, Laurie, Malak, Zoe for grasping, Manji for grasping, Hadi for grasping, Patricia for grasping, Jake for grasping, Makaboya for grasping, Kike, Tsepo, and Maria for grasping, Amin for grasping. So, authentic, not in the previous one. Something that's authentic is something that's real. In a way it works. Okay, let's see. To grip, to hold, to clasp, to hold tight, to grab, to move and take, to clutch, to hold on to tightly, to grasp, to hold on to tightly as well, but also to understand. Do you grasp my meaning? Do you grasp the concept? Yeah? Okay, so do you grasp the idea? Here, grasp. Yeah, here we're using it to understand, to clutch at straws. A smash and grab. A clasp in a necklace. And the grip on a tennis racket. He was said to have flaunted, sick, all the rules. That's very good, Vitali. Yes, because flaunted is the wrong word, but it may be the word the author used. That's very good. That's a perfect example. Yeah, he should have said flouted. What's the best for reason? That of or behind. The reason behind, the reason of. The reason for, the reason behind for learn. The words were the opposite of the authentic. Okay, I understand, P. Calap goes for grasping. To apprehend, yes, that's a good synonym. To have it down for Laurie. Hands clasped, he clasping his hands, so very definitely. Grasping. Grasping its nuances. Do you grasp my meaning? Okay, so we are almost to the end of the article and we still got 15 minutes left. He clasped it to his heart. He clasped her to his breast. Okay, so to clasp, to grasp, to understand a concept, to get a grasp of a concept. In a recent experiment on 5 to 6-year-olds, she showed that children who read and discussed the story found it easier to detect sarcastic statements in a thereafter, pursuing, subsequent, downstream test. This one's easy. I'll be fine for another 10 minutes. Okay, so let's see. Subsequent for learn, for Oksana, for Valentine, for Vitali, for Julia Richmond, for Count. Okay, how would we use thereafter correctly in this? Yeah. To assimilate, to grasp, yes, very definitely. Subsequent for Laurie as well. And what is downstream? I would normally use this word downstream in business. Yeah? Yeah. And subsequent for Hadi. Oksana says in a test thereafter. Yes, so if we put thereafter afterwards, if we put thereafter, then it works. Subsequent for Vyacheslav, I'm just going to call you Vyach. So, subsequent for Hadi, Vyach, Amin. Good evening, Ghosty goes for subsequent, Boris for subsequent, Manji for subsequent, Patricia for subsequent. Okay, yes, so do I, Laurie. Jake for subsequent, in a test thereafter. Good. Yeah. Pursue means to run after, to try to catch. Makabuya goes for subsequent, so does Kalap. Conclusion. Okay. So a subsequent test. Downstream is normally talks about a business. So, for example, if you produce something, upstream is where the things that you make your product come from, and downstream is towards the retail. So for an oil company, upstream is taking the oil out of the ground. Downstream is putting petrol in petrol stations and selling it. Downstream's the opposite of upstream. Okay, very definitely. So subsequent for Raphael. Yeah, downstream and upstream machines. One does something and then downstream. It's the flow of business. So very definitely subsequent. SUBSEQUENT. That's great. And this is the last one of this article, so we're going to have some time with the next one as well. Good. I like it. Okay, so a subsequent test, one that came after. Yeah, something that comes after. Pursue means to run after, to try to catch. Yeah. Vyacheslav, thank you, Oksana. Yeah, you know what problems I sometimes have with name. Pursue a hobby or a passion. I love it, Oksana, thank you. Provided, agreed, in light, given, sarcasm's poor reputation, we might all be a bit more appreciative of its complexity and sophistication. I mean no irony when I say it is, quite literally, one of the language's greatest gifts. So, hi Luke, great to have you. Vyacheslav. Okay, and I'm going to carry on. I've got another 15 minutes yet promised, Ronan. Okay, so Julia goes for Richmond, so does Oksana. Given for Zoe, Vitali, Valentine, Ronan, Amin for Learn, Patricia has given me given for Count, for Manji, for Raphael. Given that, says Laurie. Downstream, the later stage of industry business. That's a good definition of downstream. I like that definition, Hadi. I'm doing fine, thanks, Luke. Given, says Laurie. Ghosty says given as well. Boris says in light. Notice, in light, we need another word. Of. If there was an of, in light would work, Boris. Given sarcasm's poor reputation for Maria. Get a grasp or get the grasp of. Get a grasp of, get the grasp of, both are fine for Learn. Given for Jake, given for Hadi, given for Luke. It's great to see you answering questions, Luke. Provided. No, Macaboya. Provided it gives us a condition. Provided you arrive on time, I will give you the money. Okay, of. Yes, Laurie, in light of. Julia Richmond, in light of. Okay, Boris, so, given. In light of, says Vitali as well. So, given. Taking into account. Given. This is a given. And Calap also says given. Well done, Calap. So, that's the end. Okay, so we've got a new article. The quiet threat of covert narcissists in the workplace. Okay, so this next one is quite a short article as well. The terms agreed upon. Provided, yes. Okay, so the quiet threat of covert of hidden narcissists in the workplace. BBC Work Life. So it says where it comes from. Yeah. Given, taking into account the fact that, very definitely. Thank you, Vitali. Narcissists aren't all overt and grandiose. There's a stealthier, friendlier kind who are harder to spot, pick, mark, view, but just as dangerous. What's this word stealthier, while you're all going to give me the right answer for this? Another portion of narcissists, yay. I think they're a very interesting topic, Oksana. So let's see. We've got Spot for Julia, for Oksana, for Vitali, for Valentin, for Zoe, for Luke, for Count Beauty, for Hattie, for Jake, for Maria. Spot the Spy for Valentin. Laurie goes Spot. Smash and grab. It means you go to a shop, you smash the window, and you grab the things in the shop window and run off. Yeah? Smash the window of a shop, grab the contents of the shop window, and run away. A smash and grab for Learn. Ronan goes Spot. Stealthier. Hidden, says Oksana. Good. That's a very good one. Stealthy. Where you'll hide, so that not easily noticeable. So, Patricia goes for Spot, Ghosty for Spot, factoring in, given, factoring in, I like that, Vitali. Amin for Spot, Manji for Spot, stealthy, furtive, that's a good one for Learn. Concealed, says Count Beauty. Yes, that's good as well, Count. Not visible, stealthy, good. Yeah, indeed, they are indeed, yeah. Okay, Luke goes for Spot, Makabuya goes for Spot. Seglin goes for Spot. Stealthier means more hidden, often used in computer games. Yes, Jake, the stealth mode. Stealthy means surreptitious, not open. Arti goes for Spot. A marked man. Okay, yes, he's somebody who's they fingered. Or covert. Yes. This article is full of the words overt, open, and covert, hidden, stealthy, covert, hidden. So Spot for Calap, Spot for Rafa. Yeah, we're definitely learning a lesson. A sneaker. Yes, I guess a sneaker, somebody who sneaks, Boris. Yeah, pick, select. There. Okay, they're harder to spot. Yeah, to spot, to identify, to see, to select, to notice, to see something. Dangerous. Those people usually spend their time in prison. Wait a second, Valentin. Narcissists either end up in prison if they're poor, or they end up as the leader of a country or the leader of an industry if they're rich. And that's the problem. Spot the dog. Yes, I guess, Luke. So notice, Valentin, poor narcissists in prison, rich ones, the boss. So Hattie says stealthier, behaving in a furtive, clandestine way. So fugitive. A sly ruse. I love it, Patricia. So the braggy colleague, the boss who pigs, hogs, boars, swines credit for the team's work, the connection who constantly shows off work achievements on social media. We all know a narcissist when we see one. Okay, so we've got, I said what saw one for count. Count goes for swines, Vitali for hogs, Raphael for boars, Jakes for swines, Julia for hogs, for learn bears, boars I think he means, Oksana for hogs, Laurie for hogs, notice boar with an O. All of these words are related to pigs, by the way. Okay, so Laurie says hogs. So to brag, to show off. Look at me. I'm the best. I'm the most fantastic. Braggy. That's somebody who's braggy. The boss who always takes all of the credit for the team's work. So, and hogs for Luke, hogs for Patricia, hogs for Ronan, hogs for Manji, hogs for Ghosty, pigs for Macaboya. So let me explain some of these. A boar is not a verb. A boar is a wild pig. The word pig is a general name for the animal. To pig means to eat like a pig, to eat loads and loads, particularly to pig out. Yeah, so I pigged out at lunch and then had an enormous siesta afterwards. Hog for auntie, throw pearls before swine. Swine is a general word for pigs. Hog the blanket, hog the road, use all for yourself, to hog the toilet, to hog the bathroom, hog the limelight, says Haddy. To brag and not be judged. To tell everyone. I understand your question. Let's see. That's interesting, Oksana. I don't think there's a word for to tell everyone about your success, to give news of your success. I think maybe, brag is when people go too far. I've never been to Tel Aviv, Ronan. Okay, to pig out, says Count Beauty, to eat too much of. Credit doesn't mean trust there. Who hog credit? No, credit is not trust, is recognition. Yeah? So, to take credit for somebody else's success. The credits at the bottom of a film say who did it. Yeah? To hog credit, yeah, is to hog, to use all of, to take all of. Okay, so this is very definitely the answer to hog, to use all of, to go the whole hog as a pig, as a greedy pig. So Luke likes to pig out. Yeah, Obelix loves to eat wild boars. That's it, Manji. Obelix pigs out on wild boars. Cast pearls before swine. Yes, to show beautiful things to people who don't appreciate it. Hello, Mar. Okay, and Susanta as well. Mar and Susanta. I think both of you are going to have to watch the recording because we're just about finished. So we've got a couple more questions yet. So to hog, to use all of, yeah? To take all of, and the credit, the recognition. That's a good synonym for it. Or do we? So are we all able to... I've just run straight into the next one without it appearing. Okay, so to hog, to take all the credit, to blow your own trumpet even when you have no trumpet to blow. Yes, but you see... Oksana's trying to find a positive word to say where you're informing everyone of your success but without bragging. Yeah, you tell your friends about it. Or do we? Not all narcissists are egoists, roaring, clamoring, demanding, claiming for the spotlight. It turns out there's also a stealthier, hidden, friendlier version. The covert narcissist. To So Oksana goes for roaring, Vitali for clamoring, Count for claiming, Valentine for demanding, Raphael for clamoring, Maria for claiming. But boast is also negative, Laurie, and that's the problem. Approbation, but that just says approval. Yeah? Clamoring for Julia. Miss Marda goes for demanding. Good afternoon faded. Ghosty for claiming. I've got a brilliant selection of answers here. When I was a child, I thought that God had the same beard as you have. My beard can get a lot longer. That's in some videos. Hadi goes for clamoring. Amin for clamoring. Jake for claiming. Patricia for clamoring. Boris for roaring. Look at this preposition for. So Laurie says, Ronan says claim for, clamoring for. It's a new word for me. I've had 3 already today. That's brilliant again. Ronan says claiming. Laurie says claim for. Clamoring because it's with noise. That's very good, Jake. Manji for clamoring. Zoe for clamoring. I have a feeling that the author doesn't like humans. It's very possible. A misanthropist. Macabuya for clamoring. For learn goes clamour. Sergelen goes for clamoring. Stealthier is the opposite of clamoring. Yeah? Okay, yes. Roaring for Luke. Clamoring. Says faded, demanding. So, to clamour for, to demand noisily. Yeah? To clamoring. Clamoring for. Yeah? To clamour for something. To shout out, demanding that something be done. To demand to have. To request very stronger. Okay, to claim. Claiming for the spotlight. I would say claiming the spotlight. To claim for. Well, I made a claim for my travel expenses, but to claim, you claim something if you want to say it's yours. No. Demanding, no, for demanding the spotlight. I think roaring might do metaphorically, roaring for the spotlight, but clamoring, to clamour for, to shout for. If my beard gets longer, my place will be in heaven. No, Julia wants to keep me alive. Thank you, Julia. Okay, yes. Well, at times it's gotten very clamouring for humanity, clamouring for justice. This situation clamours for a new way of doing things. Okay, yeah, Luke all the time is clamouring for it. Yeah, he's clamouring for people to give him things. James says, make a vehement protest or demand. Yes, James, make a vehement or vehement protest or demand. That's very good. That's the clamour. Yeah, people are clamouring for change. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's time for me to stop. It's been wonderful having you all. You're a brilliant group, clamouring for justice. That's a good collocation, very definitely, Patricia. So, next stream on Tuesday at 10:30 UK time. Okay. Emphatically demanding. That's the idea for Learn. Yes, I have got a new camera. I've actually got a new computer, GW, which makes the difference. Thank you for coming, Maria. Was U-turn the opposite of a landslide? No, U-turn is where you turn around in the middle. Yeah, you're driving down the road and you suddenly see that you're going the wrong way. So you make a U-turn. It's to turn 180 degrees and go in the opposite direction. So thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Count. Thank you, Oksana. It's wonderful to have you. I'm 29 years old forever. Whoa, I should be so lucky, Luke. Thanks, Manisco. Thank you, Boris. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Mar. Boof, I recommend use as many dictionaries as you can. Don't just use one, man. Look at lots and lots of them. Yeah, and that's the beauty of internet. Lovely to have you, Vitali. Lovely to have you as well, Valentine. Thank you, Pavla. Thank you, Manji. Thank you, Live. Yeah, thank you, Luke. Thank you, Vitali. Thank you, Julia. Yeah, Julia Richmond. Thank you, James. Tschüss. Tschüss. Okay, thank you, Laurie. Great to have you. Thank you, Ghosty. U-turn is a volte faccia, change faccia, change face. Yeah. Does album in music tell a story? An album's a collection of things, Luke. A collection of things joined together. A photograph album. Yeah? Particularly. So, I think probably related to the word albus, meaning white. Okay, so thank you all for coming. I'm going to turn off the speech, but I'll let it run for a little while. Thank you, Jay.